Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and it's Acrylic April, the month where we meet together every single day to do a painting in a daily painting journey. Now, each year we have a different theme. This year's theme is abstract, and today I'm going to show you step by step how you can create for yourself at home this gorgeous, non-objective, very colorful abstract painting. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to make sure that as I'm demonstrating the techniques, explaining why I'm making the decisions that I'm making in this abstract painting and why I'm using the tools that I'm using, that you can really see everything that we have here clearly, because what you can see, and I explain, you can absolutely do at home. Now, abstract painting can be a little bit intimidating, and it's really easy to see the value in my painting or another person's painting and be super hypercritical about your own. But I want you to know your biggest job this Acrylic April is to just recognize the beauty in your own art, in your own brush marks, in your own decisions in your canvas, right? So that's going to be your special mission in each painting. Also, you're going to notice that we break this up into steps. Those steps are going to be time stamped, and you can find that spot again later if you want to come back to this video later. I also want to mention that this is in a course now, so if you need sequential, we have that available to you at theartsherpa.com. You can find all the materials here at our store, and if that wasn't good enough, there is a book that you can get now. So all these things are available to you, and I think they're really going to help. But remember, you can find all the information you need in the description down below and on our website for free. So whatever is right for you, I want you to pick that. Really nothing to do but get your tools, get your creative spirit on, and come back and meet me at this canvas right now. I'm going to show you how you can absolutely paint this. So we have an 8x8 surface here. On the palette today is Mars Black, Quinacridone Magenta, CAD Red Medium, CAD Yellow Medium, Hansa Yellow Lemon. You could use Hansa Yellow Light, Phthalo Green, Phthalo Blue, and Titanium White. All right, John, shall we put up a step?
Absolutely.
Step one. I love it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is get our background in. I'm going to take a 1-inch oval mop, and I'm going to get it slightly damp and load it up with some white paint. And I'm doing this because I want to do a very soft blended background here. And I'm actually going to sort of brush this out. Look at this on the canvas. Best painting you've ever done. So abstract that it's just a white canvas.
Super easy.
Super easy. All right, we're done. Nope.
We call this a thought of a cloud.
The thought of a cloud, number 5.
A thought before a thought.
But once we get that white in, I'm going to take a little of my CAD yellow, and I'm going to brush this out, and it's going to give me a very light yellow soft background.
See,
right
now,
here.
Now I'm on this.
Now you're on it?
You could have a white canvas named Absent-Minded.
All right, a little stronger in the yellow over here, but still with the white into it. And the white on the canvas just allows me to kind of get this very soft, diffused effect. Now you can paint the sides. That's perfectly okay if you want to do that. What I will tell you is that if you're framing, you at least have to do the edge. And I might get a smidge. This is such a smidge. Look what a smidge this is. Of my Quinacridone Magenta, and before this dries, I might hint out. See how I'm hinting? I'm hinting at it. Ah, I got a little CAD red into it. I'm hinting out a little bit of this kind of dusted pink color right here. I can get my brush a little bit damp. I'm going to just blend that in. You could go just yellow, but I think a little hint here, especially on a really fun piece like this. These little hints actually do quite a lot for us. All right, that's all we're going to do. Except that I keep playing because it's fun. A slightly light yellow canvas with a hint of a pink peach color up in the upper right corner. Now, we'll come back. I am going to dry this. John, I'll mute the sound. And we'll come back and do step 2 when we get right back here. Step 2. So I want to create kind of a layered drama on this abstract. I'm going to use an angle brush because the wonderful thing about an angle is it has so many surfaces for which you paint. This is the number 20 Raphael soft acryl. It's just a very nice brush. They're good angles. I'm going to get it a little bit damp here, and then we're going to come in and we're going to take our cad red and our quinacridone magenta and sort of mix these together almost 1-to-1. You can see it gets quite vibrant. If I get a little bit of white into it, you'll see this pink start to really, really pop up. Now I'm going to come here in this corner and I'm going to just brush out a bit of this pink right here. Let's get a little more white into that. I like to still think about things in the terms that I think about them when I'm painting. You know, traditional landscape and things. You're still using those same skills, right? I'm adding white as I come down. That's going to create a little dynamic drama. And then I might get a lot more white onto here. And just kind of dust this there. Now I'm going to come over here. I'm adding a little water to that brush. And come in from that corner. And you can see I'm doing a little bit of structure here on the edge. And then a little bit of a brush out. Go right into my yellow. Blend it in. Taking it down to about the midway point. And notice that as I'm blending in where this paint is wet and that paint is wet, they kind of like merge a little bit together. I'm going to go a little more into my red, my cad red and white. A little bit of the yellow here. This gets a little more peach, right? Let's go a little more white on there. And I'm going to make some of these little spots. See how we're doing?
Just little spots.
Little spots. I added some yellow into it. These sort of textures, look, I'm just doing the corner of the brush. Some of them are bigger. Some are smaller. All right. That is step 2. How much fun are we already having?
This is very neat.
I feel like these are little candy corns.
They do look like little candy corns like
little
this.
Candy corns.
Little snacks.
Little snacks. Little snacky snacks. All right. Now I'm going to dry everything. When we come back, we'll do the next step. On this layer, I'm going to add some more dynamic color. I'm going to get into, and I'm still into my warm yellow. I won't get into the cool yellow until I'm making those vibrant greens. I'm going to take my cad yellow, and for opacity, I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white. I'm going to come here on the corner of this brush, and I'm going to whale this around a bit, kind of creating some irregular shapes. See how I'm leaving little open spaces there? That's important. Those interesting moments for our eyes to look at something and go, oh, that's unexpected. So even though you're doing an abstract, right, you can still create things that are unexpected for the viewer. Might brush up a little bit, see a little more brushy where you see the brush strokes, and then come in. I'm going to add a little more yellow and white together again. I'm not trying to create the original ducky area. I'm just making sure that we really can see that. I'll come down here in a nice strong way. I want to kind of counterbalance that down here. Right here on the lower right. This might peek out later. Look at that go, right? Isn't that already just interesting visually? I actually feel that in some ways abstract is much more challenging.
I can see that.
Sometimes than traditional painting, because I really have to think about design and balance and the way I'm layering and what that means in the piece. I don't want to make it so busy that I take out all the restful spots, the calm spots in the painting. I want to make sure that, you know, I've got that here. Now, I need to dry it again, and then we're going to come back and do the green layer. Now, in my color story, I know I'm going to want some green, and also I'm going to want some contrast in here. So the first thing that I'm going to get into is I'm going to take my phthalo green, and I'll go ahead and smidge in a little bit of my yellow, but I don't want to make it quite bright yet, right? And then we'll get some white. I'll mix that fairly well. So it's a fairly dark green, but it has a mint kind of feel to it, doesn't it?
It really does.
I'm going to pull a very strong element of this, and I realize that I may be pulling out some of my yellow. I think I'll put that back because I really liked that. Okay, come here. Again, on the tip of the brush. Doesn't that do a nice bit of work there?
It really does.
Kind of putting those together as a puzzle piece. I like that very, very much. Come down here. And almost into my pure phthalo. I think I'm going to curve that. Maybe even more. There we go. Bring that down here. And I may pull some of this in here so that it can peek through the pink. Right? I might want it to peek through the pink. Go ahead and get a little white. Even a little more white. It goes so mint, doesn't it? And I'm kind of layering that within the green, if you can see that. Oh, I like that. I don't want to take that away. And I'm going to go ahead and get into my black right here. Not even really rinsing out. I'm just come down with a little corner accent there. Oh, I like that. Make a little mark. And a little kind of stepped mark where they're sort of open. That's pretty structural, isn't it? And it's because it's dark, it's going to really catch the eye. And that's sort of, I like that very much there. So black is strong compositionally. Let's put some here. Where we have strong contrast, it can really pull an eye. Come down here with this sort of in a line. And if I want to do a very fine line on an angle brush, I can just come into the corner of it. Look at that right there. Oh, I like those. We're going to see a lot of these. That's going to be an important shape. Now, I really want to rinse that brush out. I want that brush to be very clean before I do anything else with it. I'm going to dry all of this, all of it, very thoroughly because I don't want the black to lift into anything I'm about to do. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Let this be relaxing time for you. Relax within this. Deep breath. Let it out. Let's put in some vibrant green. Like, let's get into some really like neon. So I'm going to take a little of this phthalo green to the side, and I'm going to get it into the Hansa lemon. And you can see that just gets so green, doesn't it? Just, it's vibrant. And I'm going to get a little white into that. Just really creating almost a neon value. Adding little textural bits coming through, of course. This color is just so potent and is a nice balance to everything that's going on here. And we come back with our strong pink. We'll be super glad we did. Let's work our corners here. I like that. Really lighten it up, get it into a lime. It's quite lime here now, isn't it? Kind of bring that down into there. That creates some balance.
Really looks good.
Pull that down. I have to get a little more white into it and a little more yellow. Oh, so like lemony. Coming over there. It's not that we'll never see it again, right? As we layer up. Make some little vertical marks. Those will be interesting. Regards the piece. Maybe find a little spot right there. You could tuck some of that color. Sometimes you do that. Sometimes you're like, where could I add some dynamic interest by putting this color there? Will it do something for me in my eye? There we go. Just a few of those little greens there. And a little bit there. Let's rinse that out. No shock for the next part. Let's dry everything a little bit. Dry it thoroughly and we'll come back. I'll show you what's next. Well, this is coming along beautifully, and I think I want to get some artist knife involved. I am going to use my nice little diamond trowel here. It's not a full diamond, it's mostly kind of a pointed trowel, but a diamond or trowel will be fine. I just want a nice point to this. And I'm going to come and load both quinacridone and cad red and mix them together quite thoroughly, right? And that gets a very nice bright pink going. And I'm going to grab some of my white and make a light pink. But I want it thoroughly mixed. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm making sure that this color is a little more uniform to my eye. And come here from the side and pull down. So you see I load on the left and I can stroke down or from right to left with that load. Flatten out and that'll let it skip a bit. Now if I load on the left, I can come back and kind of work a load where I go across from the left to the right. You can see I let the knife kind of skip sometimes, right? Leaving these sort of broken areas. That's very nice visually to our mind and our eye. To see those, we find those to be kind of interesting and restful. I've got the bead right there, so I'm going to come there. Now, I'm going to wipe this off on a towel. You can wipe it off on a paper towel or a hand towel, right? But you just want to clean the knife. You won't have to get a new knife every time you do anything. And I'm going to take that brighter color that I made right here. See how vibrant that is? Let's go again, a little quinacridone and a little bit of the cad red. It's just a very vibrant color. Get a little white into it, enough to take it more into the pink, but not all the way into a light pink. Just lightly skip over it where you can see we leave dark color kind of on top of this wet light color. Sometimes we forget that we can do that easily. I'm grabbing a little more white over here, mixing it thoroughly so I get a good load. If I want to come back from the left to the right, I'm going to load on the left side of my knife. I can go up and left to right with that. And I want to take out all my interesting green work. All right, I want some nice there. Pull some on top of here. Always sort of interesting, isn't it, when you can layer those lighter colors onto darker colors.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pull some out and maybe get a very, very light pink going here. You can see it's down, down, across, across, right? So that's how I'm getting a good full load. Just bring that down on that. So that's a light value on top of a dark value. Creating that. Now we're going to draw this very thoroughly. I have done this in an impasto, but it's not overtly thick, so I should be able to get enough dry in the paint to paint over it. Now, we have to remember that when we paint thicker, it needs more drying time before you do finishing work like varnishing and everything. So keep in mind that this hairdryer dry is not varnish dry. You want to give it, you know, if you're painting thick, not like 1/4 inch thick, but just thicker, you give it a couple of days to dry before you varnish. If you're painting really thick, give it a couple of weeks. It's not going to hurt it. But let's try it right now just for the finishing painting process of it. Step 7. Okay, now I want John to sort of zoom in on something that happened during the drying process. If you can see this, there's sort of a crazing or cracking in the paint. And what that is that the two layers were, they had different levels of moisture and they had different drying rates. And that creates this. Now, that doesn't bother me. I actually like when these little moments or passages happen because it's not like the paint won't adhere or it will delaminate. It's just an interesting property of drying. And you can actually cause this to happen intentionally. If you don't want this to ever happen, what you need to do is if you have several of the wet layers on wet layers is just allow them to dry in a not extreme condition in the room. That's how you would prevent that. But I actually like that. I think sometimes those are very interesting moments in the painting. So I tend not to avoid them. And that's just a preference thing. As long as you understand why it's happening, when to affect it, when to make it happen on purpose, when to prevent it, or when to just be like, it's okay. I don't mind at all. If that makes sense to everybody. Now I'm going to do some more yellow in my layer here. I'm going to come here and grab some of my yellow paint and I'm going to get some white. I'm going to come on top here and make sure that there's some yellow layering that I've got going on. Sometimes I'm going to want some white in that like we did earlier. See, that's some nice kind of unexpected little moments that will happen there. And I like when you come in and there's more and more and more and more. Kind of load that up on the brush. I'm still on this number 20 angle brush. Just enjoying creating these little moments here. Bring a little bit around, maybe some up here. Put a little mark there. So you can see I'm making some open marks there. I'm still kind of keeping the thought of how things are being created through the piece. right? I haven't lost that. I can layer here. So the over-under layering has some interesting placements. Maybe add a little bit of a diamond mark there. So the dark diamonds can come in and then the light diamonds are sort of happening. It creates sort of an entry-exit space that I like very, very much. Come here and just make sure that there's little texture bits. I like that. Let's rinse out. We are kind of getting to a place where I might want to add a couple of surprise moments and then finish out. So I'm going to take my phthalo green over to my phthalo blue. I might even get a little bit of my Hansa yellow lemon or light Hansa. Either is fine. You just want the green biased one. And I'm going to make a very surprising turquoise. Now let's get it quite light, I think, so that it's super neon. Oh, that's pretty good, isn't it? Maybe even a little more into that biased yellow, right? There we go. Just looking for a pop. Ah, that's fun.
That's really nice.
Just mixing lighter and lighter color here. I think I wanted calmer there, so that's why I broke up that space. I think I'll take these like almost off the page there. That's sort of interesting to me to bring those all the way down. Maybe add a bit there. Even lighter. That's very light. I like the value contrast of the light aqua,
I do too.
you know, into the darker aqua. Bring some touches down here. You had no idea that there was so much thought sometimes, you know, in an abstract painting, but there should be. You should really think about it. You're looking for how can I make a restful space, you know, in here. I'm going to rinse this out. Now, if I can, I'm kind of inclined to maybe even touch over this a little bit of the pink. I'm going to take a little bit of my red into my white and really try to get a very bright pink here. Come on top. In very much the same way I was able to do the artist knife. So because this is not totally dry, but it's sort of tack dry, if I keep my brush pressure very light, I can actually add these little pink moments here, which is fun and surprising, I think. It might be a bit enjoyable to a viewer. Maybe calm that a bit there. So when I take out detail, what I'm doing is I'm saying, I like it, but it's busy and I want to calm it. Kind of create those little... All right, I think that It's just, you look at it and you're like, have I found it yet? And I feel like if I go any further, it's going to get to be too much really quickly. And I'm happy with the balance. I'm happy with the way that it's keeping my eye on the canvas. I like the color story of it. I like the energy of it. It's an energetic piece. So what I'm going to say is like, that's the painting. So now here's the thing, right? So we've got the sign to not sign. And I'm going to sign the piece, though, and I'm going to say this the whole month, which is that remember that in abstracts, a lot of times people won't sign the work so that the person hanging it can make a decision about how to hang the work.
Sort of the orientation.
Do they like it which way? And if you sign, then that sort of anchors it. So I'm going to do it anyways. You will notice that I picked something that wouldn't be nonsensical to the piece, though. Right? I didn't pick a color that would make no sense in relationship to what we did. Oh my gosh, this is going so well. Okay. When we come back, I'm going to tell you what you're going to do next and everything to be looking forward to. Oh my gosh, guys, that was a lot of fun and I really appreciate your time today. I hope you are loving this year's Acrylic April, all about abstract painting. We've got something for everyone here. So I'm hoping you're enjoying your getting abstract journey. Remember, every brush stroke that you do, every painting that you do is completely valid. That's your big job in this course, is to remember that your painting is very good and to see it through those eyes of kindness, because this is abstract. So you should love every brushstroke that you got to put down. Now, if you are a person who likes to learn things sequentially, and we get that request so much because of the really unusual sort of disorganized thing that YouTube is, yes, these videos are always free and they will be up here forever. But if you would like the organized instructional course, that is available through our school. You can find that at theartsherpa.com. There's also a book this year. Oh my gosh, isn't that exciting? So you can get the written out, printed out book that you can have for yourself to hold and paint along with. And if that wasn't as fantastic enough, you can get for yourself, if you would like to, all the materials that you saw here through our store, all of which are available at theartsherpa.com. Where are they at, John?
That's right, theartsherpa.com.
But again, this will always be free, and I understand we all live at different budgets, so don't worry about that. Those are just resources that are also available to you. Again, remember to be good to yourself, be good to each other, and I want to see you tomorrow for the next Acrylic April painting. Bye-bye!